Talkapolis, the social media TV network for your city.
I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today our guest is Patrick Woodyard with Nisolo Shoes. We'll be back to talk to Patrick after a moment.
What we're offering is if you go ahead and mention Talkapolis to us, we would be happy to give you $500 off your surgical procedure if you have your surgery before the end of June.
Well, Patrick, welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So I'm a fan of your shoes, obviously, and love your business model. Talk a little bit about kind of how this all got started. You guys are a for-profit social venture,
Right.
And talk a little about those early days when you got the idea. I know you were down in Peru doing some microfinance kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I was working down in Peru in the microfinance sector for a smaller microfinance organization. And basically was teaching business training classes to impoverished women, trying to help them not only gain access to capital, but also learn business skills. And so part of that...
Was this right after college or during college?
It was right after college.
Okay.
So a part of our philosophy was not only access to loans, but also learning about business. And so one of the things I did was teach business training classes. And that kept me constantly following up in the homes of the women, just kind of looking at their books, whatever their books might look like, or helping them kind of think through how they can earn some income. And basically, about midway through my experience, I was visiting in the home of one of our clients named Doris, and she just had a bodega in her home where she sold eggs and bread and different kind of food products. And basically visiting with her, trying to help her figure out where to buy, how to buy, that sort of stuff. And I heard a bunch of noise in the next room over. And she noticed my interest and said, hey, my husband's a shoemaker. Do you want to meet him? And at this point, I'd been in the city Trujillo, Peru, in northern Peru, for about 3 or 4 months and thought, wow, I haven't seen any shoes at all. Yeah, I'd love to meet him. And so, we turned the corner in their dirt floor, metal roof home, and William, her husband, or Wian, is sitting there handcrafting these amazing leather shoes. And to me, it brought me back to other experiences I've had in different parts of the developing world of just seeing this juxtaposition of so much talent and potential, in this case symbolized by a shoe, next to, the home that we were in a neighborhood that, with dirt road streets outside of the city, no economic resources, no formal training, no education, and yet he has this amazing ability. And so,
but he had no outlet for those shoes at that
Exactly,
time.
Yeah. So I immediately, it caught my attention. I wanted to learn more. So I talked with William for a while and learned that regardless of his skill sets, he was having a lot of trouble selling the shoes. And it wasn't because it wasn't a good shoe. It was because the market was crowded. It was because he had no access to capital. It was because he didn't have knowledge of outside markets or design of what those markets needed. And so I wanted to do something to help William, but of course thought, how could this ever scale? It's just one person making shoes. And so I started doing a ton of research and found out that Trujillo has actually been historically known for shoe production. And that there are over 30,000 shoemakers in the same city facing a relatively similar situation. Still to this day. Yeah, everywhere from small scale operations like his to some brands that are a little bit bigger, but all primarily produced for the Peruvian market.
So what was the aha that you had to figure out how to help him? What was the trigger?
Yeah, it was just, I went and visited the place where everyone sells shoes in Peru and just saw that in some of the main markets, it would just be 250, 10 by 10 stores of everyone selling the same product. For, more or less, and just saw, wow, what's needed for people like William and all these people that are trying to survive in this market is a new marketplace in general.
Right.
And so after talking through with William and coming back to the States for a little while and doing some research on the shoe industry, we found that if we could change the design of the shoes and make them more for the U.S. market, then we'd have a new marketplace for William. And so I quit all my plans basically there for the next year after I wrapped up the microfinance and decided to start Nisolo instead.
And so you brought in someone with some design expertise, is that right?
Yes, yeah. At the time, I did not know much about women's shoes, but I knew that that was a very important market and was continually reminded of that. And so I got connected through a mutual friend with Zoe Cleary, who's my co-founder in the company, who at the time was working for a major fashion label in New York City. And had gotten her MBA in fashion merchandising, and
you
was
said,
kind of the perfect
come
fit.
to Nashville and sell handmade shoes from Peru?
No, I said, pack your bags, move to Peru.
Took her right to Peru, yeah.
Can't promise you a salary or anything yet, but here's the idea.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And she loved the idea, and so she quit. She was looking for more than what the fashion industry had to offer for her at the time, and so she quit, moved down to Peru, and helped in the earlier days of Nisolo.
And now you're selling these shoes over the web. You're selling them out of your store over in Germantown, which is located where?
Yeah, at 100 Taylor Street over in Germantown. That's right. Yeah, so if you break
retail outlets too, right?
That's right. Yeah, if you break down our revenue, about 55%, 55 to 60 comes from our website, direct to consumer, and then about 30% comes from our wholesale stores. We sell in about 55 different privately owned boutiques throughout the U.S., kind of selected according to our brand and what's a good fit. And then the rest are walk-ins to our showroom. We've got a ping pong table. People can come play and challenge us if they want. But it's a cool showroom. And then we also do events, going up and down to the East Coast and partnering with different brands and things like that as well.
So you guys are a for-profit.
That's right.
But you have a real strong social mission. Talk about your impact. What have you guys helped happen so far?
Yeah, so now there are over 30 Williams, not just William, but we have.
But I had William's card in my box,
right? That's
so that means I got one of his.
Yes,
All
yeah.
Right,
so when we first started, we were located in basically 3 different shoe shops. One, we helped grow William's shop to about 8 people, and then 2 other ones as well. But we quickly realized that's like trying to run 4 businesses at a time, 1 here and 3 there. And the 3 different managers of each shop came to us and said, this is not working. Sometimes we need more manual labor, and they don't have enough, and we need this equipment, but they have it. And so we merged everyone together this past fall. So for the first time, we have 30 people in the same location making Nisolo shoes, and it's really cool. So as far as impact goes, people like William, his income has dramatically increased. Probably, I think it's somewhere between 700 and 800%. But on average, if you look at all of our shoemakers, it's about 300 to 400% income increase from whatever they were doing before. Most of them were in the shoe industry in some capacity, to now working full time, getting paid the way we pay wages at Nisolo.
And what kind of an impact has that had on their lives?
Yeah, so the tangibles, and that's the part that's obviously the most exciting. So, William no longer has a dirt floor and a metal roof. He's redone his house, built another floor to his house, was able to send his oldest child to college, which is unheard of for that part of Peru. And also another one of our shoemakers named John did that with his oldest child as well. But the first thing that almost always happens is education and home improvements are the biggest. That's where we're seeing our shoemakers. That's how they're utilizing their income, and so immediately affecting the entire family.
So what happens to the profits in your business? I know you guys certainly want to make a living and deserve to do so, but as a for-profit social venture, how do you manage those funds?
Yeah, that's been a tricky situation for us. I mean, our philosophy in paying ourselves is that if we wanted to make a lot of money right now, then obviously we could go and have a much better job getting paid a lot more. We want to build something slowly over time that's going to be sustainable and have a high impact. So pretty much everything that we've earned revenue-wise, we've pushed right back into developing our facilities in Peru, into inventory, into advertising, into building our team, growing our team. But in the long run, definitely our goals are to be able to compete in the fashion industry as a household name. A household name for our brand. Throughout the U.S.
And what does Nisolo mean?
Yeah, so Nisolo means not alone in Spanish, or technically neither alone. But it's the idea that in the States or in the developed world in general, we oftentimes have this idea that we're the only people that exist. That our decisions as consumers don't have an effect on someone else in another part of the world, but they really do, and we're not alone. And the flip side is that there's so many people, so many micro entrepreneurs like William and these shoemakers that we're working with that have so much talent and potential but have no access to international markets. So in Spanish, it's ni nosotros ni ellos están solo, or in other words, neither us nor them are alone, and kind of blended that together and made Nisolo.
What a great message. Best shoes I've ever owned. And,
Nice.
And if people want to find out more, they can go to your website.
Yes, it's www.nisoloshoes.com.
Or come visit your-
NISOLOSHOES.com.
Okay. Or they can
Yes.
visit your retail outlet here in Nashville.
Which, again, is at 100 Taylor Street over in Germantown.
And you're open.
Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturdays and Sundays by appointment.
Patrick, good to see you.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.